Hey, Brent with Brent's Runabout, checking in with week 7 of my training journey towards a 100 miler. Today, we're going to recap week 6. Last week, if you tuned in, you heard me talk about Mike Swinger's Runner's Fix book, which I have been following this week, or this past week, I should say, leading into this week, just with some different physical therapy exercises that he gives, as Mike is a physical therapist. So I will go ahead and share out my screen so you can see what I've been up to. So last week I talked about pulling out this book and keying into what was the different exercises around the ankle, and then also going back and taking a look at what talked about the hip and also the calf as well, and the Achilles heel, as I was noticing some Achilles issue, just pain, soreness, just kind of noticing it a little bit last week. So really what I did is I found that, again, just kind of quickly recapping, Mike had talked about, not only giving yourself rest for injuries, but also with certain injuries, you need to kind of help realign, reset things so you don't have recurring issues in the future with that same area. And I have a feeling a lot of that is probably what's going on. Not to self-diagnose, trying not to do that. But I have a feeling that's what's going on with my left foot, considering, again, recapping a lot of my injuries over the course of really my running career has always been left foot, a lot of stemming back again to 2012 when I had the pretty bad ankle roll during the Tough Mudder event. Not going to get quite into all that. Anywho, talking about the what I've been doing. So a lot of ankle mobilization, which is basically having a bent back leg, front leg kind of about 90 degrees, and then your the leg that you're working on is behind, other foot is in front, and then you're doing these slight drives forward where with your hip, and then also going a little left, center, right, and then kind of going back and forth. Then there's also a ankle, they call it inversion, where you then take the back foot and you turn it slightly inward, and then you just kind of go straight forward on that. Then there's also some Achilles ones with keeping your back leg straight and doing some gentle drives forward, and then also bending that back leg and doing some gentle drives forward. And then and then there's also some balancing on one foot exercises. So once you kind of work back the mobilization, building in more strength around, um, in this case, balancing on one foot for 30 seconds. And then also the compass floor touches, which is you're standing on one foot, or you're balancing on one foot. And then with the other foot, you're touching out ahead, out to your right, behind you, and then crossing behind the one that your leg you're bouncing on to your left. And then going around 10 times and then switching and do it the other leg. And then in that case, I finished with some ankle mobilization. In general, been trying to do those ankle mobilization exercises, at least the bent leg ones, going back and left, forward, right, and then back again 30 times. And then also with inversion. So that's the one where you're slightly turning the back foot inward towards your other leg and then driving forward. Most of these I've been doing it. Mike recommends 30 times, so I've been doing that for all these. A couple of them where it was the first time I did like 10. And then also what I've been trying to do is either keep up with the walking, so at least I'm out there moving, and then keeping against mobility in these different areas, my legs and feet and whatnot. And then also trying to work in other stuff. So getting more bikes in here. And this whole past week 6 has just kind of been more of a taking it as I go. I didn't quite plan out as much as I should have, or maybe now hindsight. I've now found myself coming into week 7. I'm getting in more of a rhythm of, okay, which exercise do I want to be doing every day? And then what do I want to do to then work some of the bigger muscle groups, since I'm not running at all at this point. I probably should have led with that. And what else am I doing to, just work those other big muscle groups? So biking, again, doing the walks. We were even able to get out for a family hike at our favorite spot up at Paris Mountain, near Greenville here in South Carolina. So yeah, it was a very leisurely 2.5 miles. Our daughter, who is young, was walking the whole time, with some minimal picking up, but it was a lot of just taking time, enjoying the mud, which one should while you're out in the out in the forest. Since it's been raining here, some rock climbing, balancing on roots, checking out a local dammed up lake, pond, lake. I'm not sure exactly, reservoir, and found a really cool salamander. So if you're following me on Instagram, I'm trying to remember if I posted pictures there. I definitely did on Strava. My wife probably posted a few. Yeah, I'll have to get some more more of those shots up soon, with some more posts on Instagram. So follow along there if you're not already following here. Hit that subscribe button. Go out to Instagram. Follow me on that. Links all below as usual. Anywho, back to this. So again, trying to get just walks, some biking. I have actually been getting out on my longboard just a little bit here and there along with my daughter. So, once I get her outside, if we get actually getting outside, in between the colder days and the rain, if she's on one of her many balance bike vehicles or whatever, you know, she might want to jump on my longboard as well, or I'll longboard a little bit with her. And for the most part, my foot's been feeling fine. There's been a couple of moments either after doing some of these mobilization exercises, like I think after that biking day, I noticed it the most. It's like the next day, I noticed some additional soreness. So I wasn't quite sure in that case, was it the biking, or was it, okay, now I'm doing some of these exercises, I'm kind of working like literally mobilize, more mobility into some of these areas of my ankle. Um, I completely lost where that bike went. Oh, there it is. So back on Sunday, was it the bike itself, or was it the fact that I was also doing the mobilization as well? The troubleshooter, tech and person in me wants to kind of like roll back one at a time and try and go through that whole loop. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I know I want to do the mobility stuff in order to come back and be able to run on a more continuous basis and not run into issues again. So for me, it's more about focusing on staying consistent with the mobility exercises, with the resistance training, and just consistency in general with having some of these other exercises that I'm doing in addition to the what I'm calling PT or physical therapy exercises out of, again, Mike's Runner's Fix book. So really just kind of continuing through the week. Again, more walks and ankle mobilization. And then I also started throwing in stuff that would probably borderline resistance training, like on this day, where it became not only the ankle mobilization ones I was doing with the right, left, straight, the inversion on the back leg, and then I started throwing in the calf exercises, which are more for the Achilles heel, because that's probably also where I'm mostly noticing it the most nowadays, is the base of my Achilles, like kind of right on the back end, not on the bottom of my left heel, but kind of like right on the back of it towards the bottom. So I've been trying to work in more the calf work, to try and hopefully getting that straightened out and loosened up. Well, not loosened up, but just kind of rehabbed a bit. And then also trying to get back into the habit of calf races, single leg. Mike again notes single leg calf races, and doing that in both legs, at least 15 times, or at least 15 reps on both legs. And then he calls it's everted. In this case, it's your whatever leg's doing the actual lift, it's slightly facing outward. So if it's your left foot, it's kind of slightly facing to the left, turn to the left. If it's the right foot, it kind of slides right. The arrow leg in both these cases is just hanging off the step. And I don't have the book again in front of me to remember. It does something a little bit different with how it's working the foot and the ankle and things like that, and the calf. Anywho, that then brought me to yesterday, which after all my easy weeks, I put an assessment, which the easy one to do is heart rate, because heart rate, if you track that over time, as you're becoming more conditioned, you're getting into the stride and the training, that heart rate should actually be getting better. And if it's not, it could be a number of things. It could be you're overtraining, and you just need to take some time off, or need to kind of bring it back and bring it down a notch with where you're at in training. And it can just be an easy indicator to know, okay, yep, I'm doing well, or, ooh, I'm not doing so well, or, oh, it's the same. It really just kind of allows you to have another metric to test. Sure, there's a lot of other like lactate threshold tests and things like that that are more involved assessments. This one's just an easy one that anyone can do. It's one I even prescribe to my clients as well. It even kind of explains like, yes, you are literally just going to take resting heart rate. What I do is I do it for 15 seconds, just how many beats in that 15 seconds, and then multiply by 4, and that gives you your resting heart rate. If I go back all the way to the beginning, it was actually slightly higher. It's 15, 14, 15, then an average of 58. I averaged then the 3 readings here, the 60, 56, and 60. It gives me 58.666 remaining. Which I jumped back up to my first one. It was actually 54. And I'm not horribly surprised by this. I mean, it could have been a number of reasons. My heart rate could have been slightly elevated yesterday when I took the reading, because it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to take an resting heart rate assessment, and then I'm trying to do it in between some other stuff. So it's like, a little bit of probably skewedness with being a bit just kind of the stress of getting it done. But it wasn't overly so. So it was just kind of like writing that, okay, it's a little higher. I also haven't been running as much. And again, even the last week and things like that, haven't been as on top of doing more actual cardio work, like the biking and elevated cardio work and along those lines. So this week, what's this week looking like? So I actually just sat down right before this and I debated showing that to you. It would have been a lot of probably me sitting here explaining it out, and maybe that's a good thing, but I thought it'd be better, at least this first time, and have it already done and then recap like what I did, why I did it certain ways. So what I did is I basically just went through and cleared out what was here. Actually, it was more or less blank, or it was kind of brought in from another, it was going to have to be done anyways new for whatever the running was going to be. And in this case, you can see there's not a lot of running written in. So what it's going to be is, and what I did even yesterday was I just moved over what I did yesterday to here. It was some ankle mobilization exercises, and then I also threw in a little bit of resistance training, just some deadlifts, half squats with 10-pound barbells in each, one 10-pound barbell in each hand. Again, just trying to work in more leg exercises and things like that, and other exercises in addition to the PT stuff. So today the plan is get out and bike, and I looked at the temp, and it's a nice, I think 42 out Fahrenheit. Be pulling out the cold gear for that bike ride. And then my plan is to also get some ankle mobilization, which I'll probably do before the bike ride. Also the calf stretches, things like that for the Achilles heel. And then we actually have some travel. So we're looking to, the further out is we're looking to move. Currently still with family, just with this whole starting of businesses. I've got some other stuff coming down the line, which I'll probably talk about more in the future or next week. But yeah, hopefully we want to eventually land and find our own place again. And so we're going to go do some reconnaissance travels up to 2 different places. Hopefully at least one day of skiing in there, obviously responsibly with COVID still being a thing. And in the midst of a pandemic, minus obviously the vaccines now, obviously finally going out. Won't go down that tangent too far. And then, so what I did was I wanted to at least put on the calendar and be more point of like, and make it easier on myself. Cause I like having the training plan. I'm sure a lot of people do, where you can just like look at it. Okay, that's what I'm doing today. I've already taken the time today for this week, and actually a little bit into the following week, just to sit down and plan it out. And this is exactly what I would do with clients. It's just, okay, how'd the last 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks go? Let's reassess, and then let's plan out the next couple weeks and go from there. So here, we're in a bike day with, again, the physical therapy. Tomorrow is going to be more heavy on the resistance training and also physical therapy. So a lot of the ankle mobilization. I'm going to also work in the calf stretches, because also what I wanted to try and do was, okay, keep doing some of the mobility stuff every day, but then swap out different other exercises, just to kind of give certain things a rest, at least not working the same muscle groups every day. Like, don't want to always be doing calf raises, even though I arguably should. Anywho, want to do that every other day. And then I also worked in my hip exercises with the side plank, and then doing some reverse circles, up and downs, and then back and forth. So if you're on a side plank, on your elbow, on the ankle and foot that's down, and then lift up your hips, you'll then pick up the leg that's on top and do 10 reverse circles, 10 up and downs, and then 10 back and forth, and then flip over onto the other side and do the same with the other leg. And then I'm also going to work in some balancing on one foot, and the compass floor touches. So I guess I kind of, to be honest, all these are actually PT exercises out of Mike's book. But some of these later ones actually start getting into more, since they're kind of strength building, resistance training exercises. Monday, hop back on the bike, at least it's the plan, and kind of the standard ankle mobilization, calf stretches. So then we start getting into, and this is the other reason I wanted to do this ahead of time, was we start getting into some travel days where it's going to depend on like what the day actually looks like. So, and this should probably go the same of, if you're traveling, if you've got time off, it's great to have a plan going into it. So then you at least have an idea of like, okay, this is what I want to roughly be doing, but also be realistic. Like, okay, I'm going to have probably a full travel day. I'm probably not going to be able to do that 15-mile run or 10, or even maybe a 5-mile or 3-mile run or 1 mile. It really depends on what your day is going to be. So don't beat yourself up if things don't happen, but also plan ahead and think like, okay, well, what could I do? And what would be a nice win if I could actually do that? So that's where I kind of wrote in, okay, yeah, I definitely want to do my mobilization exercises. And it would be great if, time permitting, I can also do some resistance training. So maybe once we get there, we're unpacked, dinner's done, et cetera, I can do some of these resistance training. And I started also trying to get in some more runner specific ones, like some hip hikers, some step back lunge with torso rotation. It sounds crazy, but really all it is you're doing a backwards lunge, and then you're just twisting to the opposite side that you're back. So if you're stepping back with your left and going into a lunge with your back left leg, you then just, as you're going down, you're just twisting to the right, and then reverse and go the other way. I didn't write in how many to do there. I'm trying to remember how many I would normally do. Probably at least 15 each side, or 3 sets of 5, or trying 3 sets of 10. So you're at least trying to get 15 each side to 30 each side. And then the 20th will definitely be skiing, at least according to the weather at this point. It was the day that looked good. And then again, working ankle mobilization. The day after that, I put in yoga. Yoga is one thing I've always done in the past that seems to have always worked well when I was doing it consistently. So it's something I definitely want to get more consistent with. If not, I want to at least put that as a resistance training day. So if I can't exactly steal away to go do even a 20-minute yoga session, I can at least, I know, again, I've got some go-tos like the deadlifts and squats, which are just kind of like some key foundational resistance training ones that everybody should probably be doing at least once a week, at least with body weight. That's why I put those there, because I don't feel like we're probably be traveling with our 10-pound barbells, but we got room and it's not a whole 20 extra pounds. Could be worth it. So anywho, coming back down to this day, I will be doing, at least got penciled in for yoga and resistance training. I haven't written out what, but at least I'll probably likely go back to doing some similar ones. Or if you purchase one of my awesome custom training plans, oops, Zoom is getting in the way. I include a list of resistance training exercises, foundational exercises, running specific exercises. They actually come a lot recommended from my certification exam, which, should lead with that. Certified running coach, UESCA certified running coach. Just passed that exam within the last couple of days. So if you've not been following me on other mediums like Facebook and Instagram, want to announce it here as well. You are now talking to a certified running coach. Not that I had any doubt that wasn't going to be the case in the near future. It was just, I got into a nice groove of knocking out the practice exam, and then came back, knocked out the actual exam, which I did over 3 days. It was, I think in time was 7 hours, but I think if you factor in times where I had it open and then took a break and jumped to something else on the computer, it probably factored and kept that time clock running. So in general, it took me probably about 6 hours, I would guess, maybe 6.5 on the longer side. And I had actually, it was 150 questions, true and false, multiple choice. And I had factored in, 5 hours was not going to be unheard of for that exam. And sure enough, I think I knocked it out in like 30 questions one day, 70 the next, and then whatever was remaining, and then reviewing on the final day. But yeah, passed it with a nice 96 and point something percent. So missed 5 questions, which I knew which questions. Actually, only one surprised me. The other four, the wording, it was one of those things where it's like the wording could have gone either way, and I overthought it, and I was like, "Yep, okay, yeah, I know why I got these wrong." It's like I understood the material. It's just the way they worded it. It was like, "Ooh, could this be true or false?" Anyways, I digress. So, anywho, good news on that front. Getting back to the training plan, we don't know if we're going to do a second day of skiing. So that's kind of a question mark. At least do again, my physical therapy stuff. Day after that, resistance training, physical therapy, and a lot of these we're going to be checking out the area. So we're probably likely going to be doing some walking around, visiting, just walking around town and getting a sense of the feeling of the area. We might be doing some hikes in there. This is just more for my own sake of just like, okay, I've got something written down. It's something to plan around. If I get any extra stuff in there, it's more of a win. I'm also kind of treating this as a vacation holiday. So like, there are things you can be doing on your holidays. If you don't have the free guide is titled How to Customize an Online Training Plan to Make It Work for You. However, there is a wealth of knowledge in there around missed days. If you're missing so many days, like I am here, what do you do? How do you come back? If you're not working with a coach like myself or someone else that you've worked with in the past or looking to work with in the future. It also talks about holidays and vacations. Like if you're traveling, what else could you be doing? Is there a gym? Can you do more resistance training exercises? Can you still get out for runs? Then great, go do some runs. And I have a nice little like go-to chart in there to then outline like, okay, if you're training for an ultra marathon and it's going to be on trail, your runs want to be as mimic as close to those runs as possible. So have them be on trail. If not, then at least getting the distance on road is great. And if not, at least getting the distance might have to be on a treadmill in a workout facility. Again, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so whatever's safe. And chances are maybe people aren't traveling as much right now. But anywho, grab the guide. It does require signing up for the newsletter, but I do not disappoint, if I do say so myself, with the newsletters, at least the feedback I've been getting, which thank you for that, for those that have been providing feedback, responding back. Really appreciate that. Thank you a lot. And thank you for those that are tuning in for these videos. Again, appreciate all the comments and questions and things like that you've been asking in the comments below. So continue to do so. I definitely will get back and get those answered. So back to the training plan again. So the days that we're going to be just in these areas, I've got resistance training, again, the mobilization stuff noted out. And I also just kind of noted, oh wait, where's the travel day? Sure, let's at least try and get some of that mobilization stuff in there. And then these days, again, I kind of was like, well, probably at least want to aim for some resistance training. It might end up being maybe some yoga as well. There might be some hikes. There's definitely going to be some walking in there. And then we'll be traveling back, and then we'll be back in town. So I'll have access to a bike. So I've at least got that all planned till through the 28th. Once we get in the week 9, not to jump ahead too much, I just kind of cleared that out. And I've got, kind of gave it away, but some new stuff coming up work-wise. Won't get too into that at this point. But I will likely have to reassess my training plan. Maybe not. Maybe I'll keep the schedule as it is. Because again, my long run days were middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. And then the other, with Fridays being rest, etc. So I might have to shift that where Mondays become my rest day. Tuesday through Thursday, my midweek literally runs. Friday, resistance training with maybe some cross training, and then the weekends for long runs. The reason I say I might keep it in my normal schedule is because if that ends up being our family days on the weekends again, then obviously want to prioritize family day. I also need to talk to my wife. So, I think that kind of is probably what a lot of us who definitely have a partner, potentially kids, just other responsibilities outside of just running and work is taking into consideration what else is going on in life, keeping that balance, keeping other things going on. I probably don't need to be sharing as much at this point. But, just making sure you're keeping a balance in life. We actually have a blog post coming out talking about the different types of runner and how to train with mindset that's not going to lead to burnout, and being the more harmonious runner, which is, you're able to come into running easily. You're able to step out of running and not have it just running the rest of your, like literally and figuratively running the rest of your life, versus the kind of obsessive runner that literally everything's running. It's all about running. Stuff is running. It's not so much what is running get in the way of, it's what's getting in the way of the running. And it's just kind of the point of the blog is just kind of help make some realizations around where do you fall, how can you reapproach, are you approaching running in a healthy way? I know I definitely it may not be all the time, but I know there's been times where it's just like, even just last year, where it's like, well, I can just go run. Why would I go to the gym? It's like, and now that I'm having all these recurring stuff, it's like, ooh, yeah, if I don't have running, what does that really mean? Where does that leave me? It's like, sure, I love running. I love helping others in general, and especially when it's running, hence the videos, becoming a running coach and all that fun stuff. And just literally putting info out there that I think, I find interesting. I think other people find interesting, and hopefully they do and find it informative and helpful. But it also leaves me really like, ooh, for a while there, I just had fallen away from guitar as much. Sure, I had a nice cheap classical guitar that I could easily pick up, but I hadn't really been playing electric. I hadn't really been for putting new goals in front of me that wasn't running. Like, okay, I want to go learn this song. And then nowadays, in the last couple of months, I've been finding myself, and of course you've probably been finding it if you're following me on Instagram and seeing some random stories go up about like, all right, dude, really another Tool video? Come on, like, or another Tool song, or whatever I happen to be, as I knock the table again, sorry, practicing or playing that day. But it's been fun. Again, like, reconnecting with some good old friends from years ago, and some of which I've been keeping in touch with over the years anyways, up on BandLab, and like doing some recording there, and just putting down some random stuff in guitar, and then having my friends record, some bass or other stuff over top of it, or me putting some other guitar tracks, like getting back into some of that music stuff that I haven't touched. And, with recording and stuff like that I can't remember when. So that was great, finding stuff like BandLab, where it's a lot, it's all recording stuff, at least very minimal, but it's perfect for me, because it's like I can record multiple tracks, I can layer, I can then move stuff around, I can maybe throw some some different effects on that if I really want to. So yeah, music's been one thing. Just getting into other stuff, like, obviously doing our weekly family hikes was great up until when it started getting really cold and rainy. And I think, again, as I've mentioned in the last couple of videos, just, now it opens space with some of these injuries. Okay, definitely want to rehab and get back into running shape, of course, and keep going down this. But it's not the end all be all goal. Sure, it'd be awesome to still do this 100 miler, because I think it'd be fun. Like, and it's a ridiculous goal, and I love ridiculous goals. And it just, why not? But I also like that. I like it's an adventure. It's an adventure of just like, I'm not as driven about the check in the box of, oh, I've done this race or I've done that race. Sure, like if that race to me became something that I had a goal and just an excited response to, sure, let's go do it. Like, why not? Obviously working with my wife to make that happen. But for me, especially this goal, I was thinking of it more as an adventure of like, the Appalachian Trail is right in our backyard. It'd be awesome to go do 100 miles of that. It would probably be epic, and just again, when I was looking at that terrain, just going all over the place and up and down through these crazy hill, up to the top of the peak along the ridge and dropping back into the ravine, back up again. It's just, even over 30 miles is insane how much elevation you can get on that trail. So anywho, and I've also been reading Scott and Jenny Jurek's book. It's under Scott, but Jenny wrote part of it, North. So that's it's interesting to digress on that one a little bit, because they both are writing, like it's Scott writing for a bit, and then it jumps to Jenny jumps to Jenny talking for a bit. Wow, just combining words. And then her giving her perspective. So it's really cool. But you kind of have to be in that mood for that type of book where you're jumping between two different perspectives. And so it's a bit of a, for me at least, a slower read. First, I love a good, you know, counterterrorism thriller. So Brad Thorpe, Vince Flynn, even David Badalci, those are kind of been the go-to evening readings for me. Not to completely go off track, but anyways, reading Scott's book, and just he since he went south to north, and a lot of the south stretch is right here in our backyard in South Carolina, with Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina right here. And he's just like, yeah, like he knew what he was getting into, at least some crazy stuff with regards to terrain, compared to some of the other big, like Pacific Crest and the Trans Divide. I'm completely blanking on that name of that. Anyways, those are a bit longer, but this one, at least from technicality standpoint, seemed more involved. All right. Anyways, getting completely off subject of the training plan. So yeah. Anyways, just I like how this is actually, and I think that's back to the harmonious side. It's like seeing the positive and stuff, seeing that like, okay, yeah, I'm injured, but it's not. It's just, it happens. Like, what can we do to help re-strengthen those areas, and buttress them up to then be better than going back into training. But what are fun things could I be doing, or us in general? What else could you be doing? Whether it is finding that passion for music or biking, or just maybe you want to get into rock climbing or whatever, just whatever it happens to be, and it's in your wheelhouse, or maybe it's not. You want to learn how to get into your wheelhouse, then great, then all the more power to you. Anywho, I think that's probably a good place to leave it for this week, and hope you're enjoying. Let me know below. Let me know if you want me to talk about any other off or on topic things, maybe in a separate video, or maybe just responding back in the comments. Whatever you think would be helpful to yourself or others, and we'll go from there. So as always, happy running. We'll catch you on the next week, and yeah, enjoy.